Slides up.
That's fine. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, teacher. Rookies, stand up. Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is that the end of all my talk, Greg? Okay. Any ladies in here? Okay, gentlemen and Lionheart. Welcome, glad to have you here. This is our one-time in-person training. It is being recorded, but we appreciate you being here because other than this and the banquet, it's the only time we get together for training purposes. And unlike you guys that do football, where you meet 5 times a week in person, this is it. A lot of your training will be on the field. For some of you rookies, good luck to you. There are more than one second, third, fourth year guys in here who, when they did their very first game, it was a varsity game. It was a varsity game. So glad to have the numbers, glad to have you here. Welcome very much. Committees. We have a lot of committees, and a lot of you have God-given talents that we don't know about. We are putting together a golf event this fall. It'll be a fundraiser for the Kevin Moore Fund, the Ron Maloney Fund, and for our observation program as well. That's Kevin Moore Fund now, yeah. So, if you have special talents, you need to get with Herbert Phillips and make your name known to him so that he can assign things to you. Those of you that maybe own there's Herbert right there, guys. Those of you that maybe own a restaurant, we can use a gift certificate. Those of you that have the ability to get 19th hole prizes, that's going to be one of the big things we need. So if you have that talent, get with Herbert. If you have the ability to hit a hole-in-one, get with Herbert. Are we going to put a Jaguar for a hole-in-one on one of the holes? No. Unless, if somebody's got an insurance policy that could sell us to put a Jaguar on a par 3 hole-in-one, we might even do that, who knows. Banquet, if you have special talents with a banquet, whether it's catering, whether it's owning a liquor store, all sorts of things. Trey Towery has handled our banquets in the past. He may be one to get started with this year on that. We've had it at Taco Mac the past few years. We may be looking at different venues this year as well. Nothing against Taco Mac, just looking to do something different. Observers. We have observers, and we can use more observers out there. So that's for you veteran guys that maybe have the ability to go out and go see some of these rookies, get some of these people from the registered to the approved, and from the approved to the certified, which I think that's our biggest category. Ethics. We do have an ethics committee, and we have had incidences where we've had to have people do research and find things about stuff that has blown up with officials, with coaches, whatever the case may be. Anybody with that type of background that want to serve on the ethics committee, get with me to start with, and we'll find you a spot there. And that is one of those things that so far I think it only happens about once a year that we have to use it. We don't want to see it twice a year or 3 times a year. And with ethics, guys, if you were professional, it's not an issue. Professionalism. Well, ethics won't be an issue. Recruiting. Always need guys. Football players, talk to your buddies. Basketball players, talk to your buddies. Let's get out there. We always need more bodies. There will not be a lack of work for anybody out here. There will be plenty of work for everybody to do. And Patrick Joyce, the assigner, will get up and tell you things that make his life easier and will make your life easier as the assigner as well. Communication, again, a special talent. If we've got somebody that's really good in the communication field with things that can help Stuart out, Stuart does an awful lot for us with that. Stuart could probably use some help. So if we have other folks in the communication field, of some form or fashion, please introduce yourself to Stuart so that he has a resource to work with as well. He's hiding, anyway. Oh, okay. Website. Again, same type thing. We have a great website, a lot of information on there, but if we got any website experts, you are needed. That can always be improved. Everything can always be improved. The board can be improved. We're all a bunch of numbskulls. Everything could be improved. Everything could be better. If you've got website expertise, please get with, I'm going to say, Greg or Stuart. Finance. If we've got people who know how to put spreadsheets together, work budgets, things like that. Trey has been our finance chairman for a few years, but if you've got expertise, stuff that we can take off of his plate, as he's very busy coaching and reffing as well, we'll need help with that. So get with either Trey or with me if you've got some experience and want to help in the finance end of things. And we do have the Hall of Fame banquet on February 2nd. I forget, it's going to be one of the Marriotts up 400, I think. But anyway, for some of you refs, that may be a fun place to go. Fun thing to do. They have not announced the people yet. Okay. A special thank to Alpharetta Accounting Service, not Brian Stanforth, but Andrew Stanforth. Where is Andrew? Is he in here? He's not. Anyway, Andrew has sponsored the food today, what we had this morning, the muffins, and he's got sandwiches and stuff coming later for us. So as officials, if you make a fair amount of money, you'll be doing what's called the Schedule C of some sort of fashion. And that is, trust me, that's accounting stuff, Schedule C. Some of you know what it is, many of you don't. But with officiating income, if you got it, you'll want to know that. But there is Andrew's information. I don't know if he had business cards. Do people still use business cards? He does. He has. Okay. They've got business cards out at the table then. Great on that. Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Last year, our awards, Gordon Corsetti, again, may he rest in peace, our good friend, was the winner of our Ron Maloney Award last year. Ron Maloney was an official who helped in the formation of GLOA, was a college official, was a carpenter, just an overall nice guy. He was a big guy like me, but just did so much for the world of officiating. And unfortunately, I remember reffing with him at Emory University. We sat in the car. He said, "My back hurts." And 6 weeks later, he was dead of cancer. But Ron was a great official, did so much for this association, did so much for club ball and the growth of officiating down here. Ironman Award, Alan Skinner was our winner last year. That is the person who does the most GHSA games. 61 games. The Road Warrior, Louis Diaz. Again, there's Louis Diaz right here, who was a road warrior a million years ago. He was there when the Star of the East showed up, too. Anyway, Louis, our road warriors last year was Zach Bly. Eric Rudolph, I don't think you were here. Eric Rudolph, affectionately known as the Whistle. That is his nickname. It is not derogatory. If you're ever talking with Eric Rudolph and you call him the Whistle, he will respond to it. It is not derogatory, but that is his nickname. The Golden Whistle Award is for pretty much our best umpire, guys that we're looking at to move to the next level as a referee. And then Kevin Moore, Rookie of the Year. Kevin, again, another great official, lost way too early. I think he might have been the original president of GLOA. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, he moved to New York, and again, the Big C got him in a very untimely way. Anyway, so the Rookie of the Year award is named after Kevin Moore, and And we do have a Kevin Moore fund, which we'll get to talk about later, but that is going to be funding our observations. In the past, we used to use the Kevin Moore fund to help transport people to what was called Laredo clinic training. Laredo was the U.S. lacrosse thing. It doesn't exist anymore, so we're moving to the observation thing. Our championship crews last year, there they are. Thank you to all that do them. It is an honor to do this. We'll be talking more about the playoffs and how officials are picked, why they're picked. We'll be getting into that. But as you can see, we've got 16 slots up there. 16 slots. We've got four certified state championships to cover. So, and again, I'm taking a little bit of Patrick's thunder, but we do try to bring in people who've never done it before. I don't know how many last year Patrick may have that was their first. Anyway, thank you to the guys that did the finals.
Second-year officials.
Second-year officials, stand up. Oh, I hope I got enough.
You survived, guys. Good job.
You survived.
Great points.
Right here,
I got that.
in that box.
Yeah.
We've got presents for the second-year officials. Just come on down, guys. Come on down. Hey, come down here and stay down here.
Congratulations.
Here, this is for you.
You'll note on the back of it.
You don't get one, Adam.
Is Ron Maloney.
Here you go.
That's Ron Maloney's shadow there.
These are tape measures, by the way, with zebras on them, courtesy of the whistle. No, that's a coin. You don't get the coin.
Thank you.
Yep. And they're cheap. They'll break, so but you'll need it. You get this is a tape measure, okay.
Thank you.
Everybody needs a tape measure out in the field, don't you?
What do we do this for?
Huh? It's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eric Rudolph.
Mike, get out of the way.
I'm getting out of the way. Did we have enough coins?
Just enough.
Okay. Game fees. Game fees. This will get talked about some more. We can't talk about it enough. If I'm looking at this correctly, you'll see regular season JV 75, varsity, a crew of 3 is 88, a crew of 2, this is an upgrade, gentlemen, and Lionheart of $98, anyway, 98 for a crew official of 2. Gentlemen, these are gross numbers, not net numbers. You get these off of the GHSA website. That is not the amount you are getting. I'm going to repeat it. This is not the amount you are getting. That is a gross number. We at GLOA take some of that money. And our GLOA fees are basically $6 a game for a GHSA sanctioned game. We take $6, one for the association. Those numbers may not be correct, but we need to pay the assigner, we need to pay the treasurer. If you want to get paid timely, you need somebody that can put the time into it, and you have to compensate for that time. If you want good games and the amount of time that Patrick and Stuart and Tony put in for assigning, we pay them. And we're proud of it. We pay them. We got 3 top-notch assigners that do a great job putting crews together, getting the chemistry. 4 assigners. Chris Ferran down in the south in Savannah as well. Thank you. Anyway, there's a lot of work put into this, and a lot of us do our volunteer stuff, but some of it needs to be compensated. So anyway, and I think when Trey talks finances, that'll come up again a little bit more. But bottom line is $6 out of a GHSA sanctioned game goes to expenses. If it's a non-GHSA sanctioned game, like tournaments that we do, it's $5. And then the playoffs will be $115. Again, a gross number. GHSA semis and finals are $140. I don't think there's any questions on that. That's pretty clear. But again, gross numbers. Okay. And it is in the arbiter as well. These fees are in the arbiter as well. GLOA has worked out an agreement with an outfit called All Sports Officials out of Pennsylvania, I believe.
Outside of Philly.
Outside of Philly. They have our GLOA logo. They got some neat swag. They're the NILOA distributor as well from the college ranks. And they were up in Baltimore with a lot of their stuff, and they got some neat swag. I mean, this little hoodie thing right here, NILOA, they can make a GLOA one. Anyway, they do have 2-inch stripes. They do have the GHSA sublimated, whatever that big word is that I can't say, in there. Short sleeve, long sleeve.
You are not required to purchase through All Sports Officials.
Correct. Exactly. But when you go to their website, you will get, with us partnering with them, there is a 10% discount on the price that you will see, and if you spend over $100, the shipping is free. And I hope, because they do some of the swag, the one thing I think of is we all kind of wear different black jackets. And I'm tempted to really look at this and just at some point in time make these guys a GLOA black jacket that we can wear for our games as well. And that's it for my part. Tom Skinner.
All right, so I'll be very brief. Mike, thank you, and thanks to all the officers for all your hard work and for allowing me to get up here and talk a little bit about FCO. Let me get my notes here that I have. That's all right. I'm just going to open it right here. There we go.
Hold that for you.
Yeah, I'm good. I got it. All right. So, guys, thank you for giving me the opportunity to get up and talk a little bit about the Fellowship of Christian Officials. This is a nonprofit organization that I've been blessed to be a part of since its establishment last year. 2024 was our first year in establishing FCO. You've all heard about Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. And so I was approached by Mike Gammons, who works for the GHSA, and asked me to get involved in helping him to establish FCO, and we got it up and running last year. And I just wanted to come and tell you all a little bit about it. FCO is comprised of officials just like you guys, and we're here to affirm and support and encourage one another, both on and off the field. It's free. All you got to do is sign up. There's a QR code there at the upper left-hand part of the screen, and you can go and sign up. And basically, when you sign up, you're just giving us your information, and we are going to be sending you a weekly devotional that we put together that's geared toward sports officiating. I organize the publication of those each and every week, so when you sign up, you get a weekly devotional that's geared to sports officiating. We're looking for more officials to contribute to those, so if that's something you're interested in, you can sign up to submit devotional as well. So please go to the QR code, sign up, or you can provide me your email and we'll get you signed up, and hope you'll be a part of the team, and God bless. Thank you very much.
Quiet down, ladies. ladies and gentlemen. Give him a big hand.
Good morning. So let's talk a little bit about GHSA business. All right, so if you are going to work high school games this season, you have to be registered in Dragonfly. Dragonfly, you should have received 17 emails from Greg Height by now. Information for registration is also on the website, but if for some reason you haven't seen it yet, get with me and I will walk you through how to register with Dragonfly. It's pretty straightforward. You go in there, you put in your demographics information. There's some questions that GHSA asks you. Again, pretty straightforward system. You have to be registered in Dragonfly in order to be able to take your GHSA clinic and your GHSA test, meaning you have to have already paid your fee. Right? So there's a few different things in there. The GHSA 2024-2025 registration is required. There is an option in there too for a GHSA officials pass. That's optional. It's not required. Real quick, an officials pass is basically a pass that will allow you access to all GHSA contests. So if you got son, daughter, nephew, niece, or something that plays sports, and you go to GHSA contests, once you go to 2 contests, you've already it's already gotten your money's worth. Dates are actually backwards. The clinic is open from January 20th to the 10th, and the test from the 27th to the 10th. So Greg will change that if he ends up sending this PowerPoint out. But again, these dates are backwards, right? Clinics open up on the 20th and tests open up on the 27th. Next slide. New officials grant. If you were a first-time GHSA contest official in any sport, Arthur Blank is working with GHSA to provide a grant for first-time officials, which will basically reimburse you $250 towards some of your initial costs of becoming a GHSA official. In order to qualify, again, you've got to be fully registered in Dragonfly. You've got to complete the application. It's just a one-page form, pretty straightforward. And then you've got to work at least one GHSA contest this season. Some of you have already filled out the form and sent it to me. I'm sure there'll be others that need to do so as well. So once you have worked, maybe say a month or so has gone by in the season, I've validated all the new officials, first-time officials have worked. I'll send all that information in to Pam at the GHSA office at one time. And then at some point you will get reimbursed directly from GHSA. Any questions? Ball cap in the back. Yes, it does. GHSA Pass also works for the playoffs.
All right. Good afternoon, morning, everybody. So this is our observation form. It is electronic, so us out with observations for you. But for those that have done observations before, we're looking to get done this year. I've dedicated my done. I have a bad wheel, so I will not be on the field this year. Do plan on being 100% observer this year. So for everybody else that you can't run like you used to, getting older, it happens to us. You want to, but you're not sure that you can run, at least not for a full season. Let me know. We can totally use you still to help observe. Get some of these second-year guys that were up here and some third-year guys and anybody that has not been observed. We want you to get observed this year. We want you to have the opportunity to move up and move into those championship crews. But in order to do that, you have to be observed, and you have to also be observation. We want you to ask questions. How do I get better? We want those things. That's what Greg, and standing here with his beautiful outfit on, he will be happy to give you the feedback that you on what you need to do to get better and that kind of thing. So training should not be just a one-time thing. It's throughout the season, but sometimes you don't. People aren't open to the feedback they get, and if you come to us open to that feedback, then I promise you will grow and get better for sure. Any questions about observations?
Well, hold on, we got more info.
Let me just turn around and look at it. All right, so we have 105, well, I don't like to read to adults. I think everybody in here knows how to see these things, but in essence, what we're trying to do is get these numbers up, right, as I just stated. So we have 105 registered officials, 37 are approved, 51 certified. So we do have some that have no observations. We have 51 people that joined in 2022 or earlier that have not been observed. So again, I am going to try to get those 51 people observed, or as I stated on our board emails, I'm going to try to get at least 70% of those done. So we don't want to have 51 people that have not been observed. And the other thing is we also have to add on that there are 25 that joined in 23. So that actually is 76 officials that need to be observed. So I am going to personally try to get as many of those done as possible but again, for those of you that are out there that, you're on a bad wheel or two bad wheels, I can use you. So please make sure you reach out to me. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, let me just grab that. I'm going to be walking around with a clipboard for folks who have not signed up yet. I'm going to be walking around with a clipboard for sign up. If you haven't signed up, just raise your hand as I walk around, okay? That they're here.
Sorry. I think the big thing about the Observers Program is we started it, Ryan Rowe started this program, and we are really ahead of the curve. If you go to most associations, there are no observations. You literally just show up and you do your game and you get paid and you move on. So we are really trying to give you the tools and everything that you need to be the best official that you can be. And this is not just for new guys. We want to observe every official. If you are a new referee, we want to make sure you're the best referee that you can be. If you're a new umpire, we want to make sure you're the best umpire that you can be. At every level of your career, there are opportunities for improving. I think that's the really important part. And if anybody has any questions, reach out to Julius, reach out to myself. Particular shout out to Don Stoppenbach, who is not here today, who did an absolutely yeoman's work going through all of the files and all of the emails and all of the spreadsheets to make sure that we had an accurate count of what was going on. I think we're in a really good spot that in the next 2 or 3 years, we will literally just be doing your second, third evaluation, not just doing guys for the first time. So this is a great opportunity. I will also say that everybody who does an observation is a USA Lacrosse certified observer. They have to take a course every single year on how to be an observer, best practices, and all of those things. Questions?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Well, just first curious, the 3 numbers up there, that's the total pool of refs that you have.
Yeah, that's it. That's us right there. Now, some of those guys are legacy guys, like Eric Rudolph is listed as an official. There are guys who step away. There are guys who have bad wheels and can't officiate. So these numbers are slightly larger, and we'll get into that when we talk about assigning.
I just feel like good as group might be good to tell people why it's important to be an improved official.
We're about to talk about that. We're literally about to talk about that. Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah.
One other thing. Well, first, Greg stole my shout out to Don Stoppenbach. So,
Give him another one.
no, that's too late. You stole it. But one last thing. Greg mentioned real quick that we have to go through that. So, are we going to talk about that in the observer meeting after? Okay, never mind. All right, well, okay, that's it then.
Good morning. Appreciate everyone coming back out. A couple updates. We don't really have any new schools this year. There's going to be about 120 between GHSA and GISA, same as last year. The games are going to start on February 8th, is it?
What's that?
Is it February 8th?
I believe so, yeah.
So whatever that Monday, February 8th, obviously starting the last week of January, there are going to be scrimmages. Our first actual games are going to be on January 25th, the Altoona Icebreaker. Reminder, GISA, any non-GHSA game, we're yelling the yellow shirts, order online through our swag site. Obviously, if you need to put a black shirt underneath because it's cold out or whatever, please do that. Everything else is the same. We can't wear GHSA uniforms in non-GHSA games. Big dates are going to be posted on the Arbiter. Obviously, right now we have February 15th. We got the tournament in Whitewater. March 1st is going to be a big day because that's the first day everyone's out and about. And there are some other dates. I think it's March 14th and 15th is the Corsetti Memorial. And there's going to be some good games. I think Roswell and Lambert are going to be in that game as well. So there's going to be some good games at those dates too. But that will be all updated in the Arbor once we get more schedules. Playoffs. What do you want me to talk about specifically?
Let's talk about uniforms. So this is what we
Okay.
be wearing.
All right, to go back to uniforms, here it is. Obviously, that yellow shirt up there, you can order that on our GAAXLEF.com website along with white hats. Everything else can be ordered through whatever official site you want to use or the one we just partnered with in Pennsylvania.
All right, so playoff eligibility.
All right, this comes up every year, playoffs. So I'm going to start with some numbers. Last year, in the regular scrimmages and regular season, we had 1,301 high school games, of which that led to 3,269 slots. Slots mean if it was a 2 or 3-man crew. Obviously, as we discussed, for the top 10 official game counts for high school, 61 was the top and 40 games was the 10th spot. Last year, we had 174 officials do at least one game. 128 did at least 10. And then obviously, as we said, 12 games to be playoff eligible. There were 117. Of which we had 73 certified or approved officials. And obviously, if you keep going, we had only 98 officials score 85 or higher on the test, or 84, whatever the number is. And then we had 75 that qualified for 90 plus. Obviously, once we get to beyond the second round, so is it quarter or semis? This is 90.
90 is
Quarter.
semis.
I'll have to double check, but quarterfinals or semis, remember which off the top of my head, you got. So obviously, we had 44 certified officials qualify for playoffs. Obviously, 4 were not eligible for the quarterfinals or beyond. We've always made an effort every year to get new officials on the field for finals, because that's the big thing that always comes up. Last year, we had 4 finals between GISA and GHSA. That means there was 12 slots on the field. 8 officials never were on the field before that day. So we continue to do that.
So if you take out registered officials, this is the number of guys that are doing, quarters and semis. This is the number of possible guys that are eligible for the finals. And not everybody in that group is able, available, or
Put enough games in. Put enough games in. Because I'll also say this, 12 is the minimum, but the lowest number of game count for someone to get a final last year was 20. Usually that's higher, but last year it was 20. The year before was 25. So minimum is probably not going to get you a final.
CBO.
Okay. So before I get into CBO, do we have the factors up there or no?
What's that?
Do we have the factors?
What do you mean?
Like, do we list the factors of different things?
Meets requirements?
Yeah. So before I go over CBO, availability. What does that mean? There's no travel limits. We don't factor that into playoffs. We got physical capability, exceeding, crew pairings. So let me start this first. Professionalism. you know, having the game cards, communicating with coaches, communicating with assigners, communicating with your partners. Obviously, feedback from our officials and coaches, observations. We do a lot of film review. So Clyde and Alan have done a lot of film review and sent us film, so stuff is reviewed there as well. There's also something called the it factor. I'm going to let Herbert jump in here.
Championship games, and that is from 2015 on. It goes from 2002. So if you go on the website, you will see the list. Okay.
So the numbers, the final number you had was 51, right?
51.
51 out of
175.
out of 175-ish. So somebody do the math. 51 dots for 16 spots.
It's 40 this year.
Yeah, 40 this year of real eligible guys.
So 40. Bottom line is, it's a low percentage, right? You can go look at all the other sports out there. Got games going on this Sunday. I think it's 3 ball games today.
Yep.
Go get their numbers. I know everybody wants to work a state championship ball game, and you should have that desire to do it. If you didn't, I would question you. Or if you just came to me and said, this is all I want to do, that's fine too. But there's only so many spots. So we talked about all the eligibility things that you need. There's also some things which presentation was many years ago by a couple of NFL referees. They call it the it factor. And that's that special thing. Some people call it intangibles. There's some things you have out there that you need to work on, or you already have, or enhance, and that's your it factor. We can go on these all day. So I'm just going to go on briefly. Passion, and I'm sorry I got to put these on now because I'm getting older. Passion. Do you take every game serious? Or are you out there just to make a check? You try to get something good out of every game that you work. Bad team versus bad team, that's things you can work on while you're at that game. Because a lot of bad things don't happen, right? So when that bad thing happens in that top game, there should be no problem to take care of. Competitive instinct. Do you have the instinct to get better? How many of you just take your test and then put your rule book up? Simultaneous fouls. I read that every day because it's just hard to remember. Because you don't get it that much, and then when you get it, you got to be the person to do it right. Command. Do you take command of the game and manage that command when it's required? You can be a commander out there and still can't manage the game. And as I was driving down the road here, I noticed the it factor. It's great to have the it factor, but please don't put S and H in front of it. And that's part of that command. If you don't do that command correct, you be the SHIT factor, okay? People skills. And I see that when I do a lot of ball games and do some observations. Know how to work with players, coaches, and other officials. Situational management. Know how to manage those players, coaches, based on the situation at hand. And they call me the coach whisperer or whatever all that means, but basically that means know how to manage those coaches. When they go up, you stay down. A lot of things I see out there with a lot of us out there, and I'm just going to be real, that you want to know how to get these ball games. Lacrosse officials are one of the most cussing people I've ever seen in my life. They'll call a coach an MF, a DH. Now we have our opinions about it, but sometimes that stuff starts bleeding into your pores, and you work the ball game like he is an MF or a DH. It factor. It factor. Investment. Biggest thing right there for you. With these championship ball games, control what you can control. Like I said, it's on so many slots. If you're out there making an 84 or 85 on the test, you need to invest in yourself. It's an open book test, gentlemen. It's an open book test. The time on it is what? 3 hours? 2 hours?
Something like that, yeah.
Get your rule book down there, go through each question, read the rule book, answer the question. That test really is for you to get into the rule book. For you to get into the rule book. Open book. Now, I've had some worse tests in football where it was no open book. And it was rough. Because the guy who makes the test in football, bless his heart, I love him to death. Fitness. Get yourself as fit as you think you need to be, physically and mentally. We work a lot of high-level ball games where your mind, you should be tired up here at the end of the ball game. Because a lot of things went on through the ball game you had to process. Your body should be tired too because you're running, but your mind, because you want to make sure you don't want to make that mistake out there. Education, well, I get back on rules and the test, get in the book. Film review, don't be afraid to look at yourself on film. I teach golf out there and I hate to look at my golf swing on film. But we learn in the golf business, everybody's swing is authentic. Look at yourself, look at others, look at the person you think who has the X factor. What are they doing to get in those games? And don't think it's, oh, because he knows this person, he's on the board, he does college. Look and see what they're doing. Are they managing the game properly? Are they having good feedback with the coaches? Sometimes I walk the ball game and say, I'm so glad to see you. I said, why? Because so-and-so, the game we had the other day, so-and-so, he did this and he did that. Because that's the coach's opinion, but it factor. Be that person when you show up. He says, I'm glad to see you, and this was great. That's what you want to do. You want to be that one when he says he's glad to see you. Now, he's going to yell at you during the game, but he's glad to see you. Mentorship and feedback. Find somebody out there who you think who has the it factor, and get with them as a mentorship. Ask them things what they need to do, what they do during the ball games. See how they work ball games. Ask Pat to get assigned with those people who you think have the it factor. And always look within yourself for that it factor. And at the end of the day, when you say the first game start, Pat, when's the first game? I'm sorry to break the contract. When's the first game start?
February 8th.
February 8th? That's your first state championship ball game right there. That's your second state championship ball game. Keep going. When's the big dates? March 14th, 15th? That's your state championship ball game. Your state championship ball game is not the one on May. If you approach that, if every game is a state championship ball game, that'll get you to the it factor. Questions on the previous slides and what I discussed? And throughout the season, if you want to come with me, we can talk about it factor all day. And there's all kinds of things you can do to become the it factor and make sure you don't put the SNH in front of it, okay? No questions?
You guys are up.
Oh, how can choosing a mentor? As you start working ball games, start with your referee. The board members on the website, get in contact with us.
And we've also got the helpline.
And the helpline. The cool thing about mentorship, which I learned at work, is not the mentor who goes out and reach out to the mentee. You as a mentee need to reach out to a mentor and have a plan on what you want to do to get out of that mentor.
Also, contacts on Auburn. So if you know you work with somebody a couple of games before, you can always go back to Auburn and look at, get their phone.
The contacts on Auburn, and then after your ball game, you ask your referee any feedback. And if one says you did a great job and that was it, say, hey, can you give me a little more specifics? Now he may say, let me digest and I'll get back with you later on, and he should do that to the best of his ability because the person is reaching out for feedback. Just a good ball game, that's not the feedback he probably is not looking for, okay? And don't be afraid to be specific. Tips, find some good things, and then areas of improvement, and not bad things, and areas of improvement. But they're going to leave. Okay?
And I'll talk a little bit more once we go through financial
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Peter Fleury. I am the treasurer for you first-year officials. I'll come introduce myself again in your meeting and go over some quick stuff about how we get paid. I'm going to be quick and then hand it over to Trey. Returning officials, 1099s will be emailed to you if you made more than $600 by next weekend. If you do not want it emailed, come see me today, or better yet, email me and tell me that, and I will stick it in the USPS. But please, when you get your 1099, look at it. I have to send it to the IRS by the end of the month, so you can't wait till you do your taxes and then tell me there's an error because it's too late. First year guys that are getting their first 1099, make sure everything is correct. Some of your handwriting is atrocious, and I had to decipher that and put it into the system. I had something else to talk about. Payments. We started pushing you all to go to Zelle. Zelle payments are instantaneous. I hit send, it's in your account. It is free. Some of you folks are still getting checks in the mail. I don't like the USPS, my payment depending on the post office. Other folks that have direct deposit, your bank is charging GLOA. We highly recommend you switch to Zelle. You get your money quicker, and that's why we do this. We don't do this for the fun of it, we do it to get paid. So again, if you want to switch to Zelle, email me. Email's on the website, or reach out to me today. Thank you. Sorry, any questions for me?
All right. Gentlemen, when I first joined the board, one of my main goals was to provide some transparency with what we spend money on and where all the money goes. So that's what I'm here today to do, is give you guys a quick update on our finances. So this first slide is a percentage of what we pay out. All right, so as you guys can see, we've been growing. Top line there is the number of the dollars that we've received from either the schools or the tournaments that we ref or the leagues. So overall, 2024, we collected $590K. Officials payments out of that was $574K, or 97%. So we're paying out 97%. I don't know if any of you guys have a business that pays out 3% of operating costs. That's pretty good. So we're doing a pretty good job there. Yeah, operating expenses we're going to get to in a little bit, but I mean, that number right there, when I was pulling this together this week, it was mind-boggling to think that we're that low as far as our operating costs. You might get the next. All right, so game fees. We talked about it a little bit earlier. This is just a breakdown of where we were. So go back to 2021. We're making $244 for a 3-man crew, or $77 per official. The 2-man crew in 2021, $161 or $77 per official. Jump all the way back out here to our new fee structure. 2-man, $196 or $92. All right, that's a big win for us as an association, is getting our 2-man crew and our fee up for that. Because for those of you that have done the 2-man, especially in a big varsity game or something like that, you're working, right? You're running a lot more than what you normally would run in a 3-man crew, and you're dealing with coaches a lot more than what you should be doing. So you get a pay bump for that. Yeah, overall, again, we talked about the association fees earlier, and then yeah, just overall we're doing a good job with what we ended up handing you guys out. Next slide. And then finally, this is our operating costs, just to let you guys know how it all breaks down. Administrative expenses, those are things like W-2 forms, some of those types of things where we have to spend money to get that. Our education, that's our training, things like our food. Of course, today's food was covered, so we won't have to put that in there next year. Some of the books, those types of things. Entertainment, that's our banquet. We did a good job this past year of keeping our banquet costs down. Hopefully we can do that going forward. Supplies, those are coins, mostly. There's other things in there too, but mostly coins. And then finally our software. That's mostly Huddle, Arbiter, things like that, but those are two of the big ones. We have Zoom for our board meetings, and MailChimp for the newsletter and things like that. But that's our overall operating cost. I hope this provided a little bit of transparency on where your money goes as far as dues and what we're taking out for the game fees. Any questions?
Hey, what are our cash reserves?
Yeah, great question. Where are we at? 30?
Currently in our account, we have 39,000. We just paid the arbiter bill. Just for you all know, arbiter bill is probably our largest spend. $2,400. Huddle is $2,018. Of course, everything's gone up. Huddle is our next biggest expense, and then insurance.
Great question about the operating reserves. Just so you guys know, before we started taking that dollar out, we were down to like $4,000 or $5,000. And our goal was, over the last 3 years, to really build up our cash reserves. And the reason why we want to have our cash reserves is that if we have a tournament that doesn't pay us, that goes bankrupt or whatever, because you know some of these guys that do these summer tournaments aren't necessarily the straightest guys. They can be a little sleepy. So we want to make sure that we have enough in our reserves to pay our officials. So that if they don't pay us, we've still got that covered, and we're not making you guys work for free. So that's the point of us building up our cash reserves. We feel like we're in a good spot. As a matter of fact, we had talked, I think, and even proposed to y'all that we were going to start taking $1 from our middle school and tournament games. We're not doing that. We think we've done a good job of building up our cash reserves. So at the moment, we're just going to continue to take the GHSA dollar, and that's it. So, and hopefully that's the way it remains. But you know, the costs keep going up. We gotta just make sure that we're monitoring it and making sure that we don't deplete those reserves again like we have.
Yeah, but that's still good. It went from $25 to $16.
I'm sorry?
It went from $25 to $16 on cost-related expenses. That's $9 saved.
Yeah, we went from 25 to 16.
Yes,
We definitely, one of the things we did was tighten our strings. There was less frivolous, we cut back on the after game, and we take off playoff crews for every round, and we dialed that back. So yes, the board has also tried to cut costs so that we don't have to raise costs to you. The one thing I'd like to note is Trey put up there how our game fees have gone up, but what we've taken out has only gone up $1 since this association started. The first time I rep 20-something years ago, they took out $5 out of the GHSA game fee, or $5. It stayed the same except for that $1 for GHSA only in 20 years. So you all are making more money than I was back in Louis and Cole back 20 years ago, but the association has stayed pretty much constant with what we take out. So we try to get the money in your pocket for doing the work.
There's also some things where we've had some people come in, like the mental agility foundation has paid for some things in the last couple of years that we weren't paid for, or that we didn't have to pay for. So we've got a little bit of help there. And honestly, the biggest expense has always been our banquet, and we did a really good job of keeping that cost low this past year. So hopefully we can do that going forward. Any other questions? Yeah?
Just a comment. Just want to congratulate you guys on being transparent with the funds. You belong to a lot of organizations, and we don't see this kind of transparency about what's happening with the numbers. So I want to applaud you for that work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.